All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Look, if you've recently gone through a major separation and you feel like the world just kept spinning for everyone else except you, well, then this analysis is absolutely exactly what you need today. We're going to be exploring a deeply painful reality from the source material. Men who seemingly had it all, the career, the money, the clear goals, but then a separation left them so socially lost that they essentially lost themselves. And the really crazy thing? The deepest loss highlighted here isn't just the relationship itself, it's actually their own sense of identity. They simply just don't know how to exist outside of that partnership anymore.
The source material shares this really striking story about a highly successful businessman who had just ended an 8-year relationship. He shared this devastating, yet honestly incredibly relatable, hard truth. He said, "The hardest part wasn't losing the marriage, it was realizing I didn't know who I was without her by my side." I mean, think about it. His friends, well, they had become their friends. Weekend plans always revolved around the family unit. Every conversation ended with that awkward question, "So, hey, how's your ex?" And slowly, almost without even realizing it, the guy completely isolated himself.
So here is our roadmap for today's analysis. We're going to cover 5 key areas. 1. Lost after the breakup. 2. The 5 mental traps. 3. The mindset shift. 4. 3 levels of action. And finally, 5. The case of Mauricio.
All right, starting right off with Section 1, Lost after the breakup, and how to recognize the signs of isolation. You might think you're just adjusting right now, just taking it easy. But I want you to consider these really common post-breakup behaviors. Filling all your time with work, endlessly staring at screens, embracing dead silence at home, and just actively avoiding any sort of social discomfort. Now let's be clear, this analysis isn't for someone waiting around to be magically rescued. It's for the man who has taken the hit and is truly ready to rebuild. The source is super direct here. This isn't healing. It's an avoidance tactic, pure and simple, and it's keeping you stuck in isolation. Which brings us right to Section 2, the 5 mental traps and why your social life is totally stalled.
Let's crack open that very first mental trap.
Confusing your social life with your couple's life. Think about it. When you're in a long relationship, your social circle naturally just kind of merges. Your friends become couple friends. So when that breaks, you don't just lose your partner, you lose the entire context of where you existed socially. The problem isn't that you're suddenly this antisocial guy, it's that you just never built a solid, independent social identity. The source suggests that having to build this from absolute zero, while, yeah, obviously uncomfortable, is actually a massive opportunity to completely redefine yourself.
Moving right along to trap number 2, and this one is heavily driven by social anxiety.
Fear of judgment. Honestly, you're probably just afraid to show up alone. You're terrified someone's going to ask about your ex or that you'll look completely out of place standing there among people who seem to have their lives perfectly figured out. But here's the reality check. Literally nobody is paying as much attention to you as you think they are. Every single time you avoid an event out of fear, you falsely train your brain that the social world is some kind of dangerous threat. You've got to break that cycle.
Okay, trap number 3. This addresses a super common misconception about feeling ready.
You tell yourself stuff like, oh, when I have more energy, I'll call my buddies, right? Or when I resolve my internal feelings, then I'll go out. Listen, that is a perfectly designed trap for endless procrastination. The harsh reality here is that motivation does not just magically arrive before you do the thing. It only arrives after you take action. You are not going to go out when you finally feel good. You're going to feel good because you actually force yourself to go out.
Here is trap number 4. This one really zeroes in on the internal, psychological damage you might be carrying around.
Eroded self-confidence. A long, especially draining relationship just chips away at your self-worth. You start doubting your value, your conversational skills, your sheer interestingness as a human being. You walk into a room in pure survival mode instead of actually being present. And the analysis points out that people naturally notice that heavy, guarded energy. You've got this voice in your head going, man, what do I even have to talk about? But honestly, that's just a residue of a dynamic that slowly turned your light off. Your value as an individual does not in any way depend on whether or not you have a partner by your side.
And finally, we hit trap number 5. Honestly, this is probably the most dangerous one of the bunch because it practically guarantees failure. Trying to recover the past versus building something new. So many guys try to just slide right back into the exact same friend groups, the exact same places, and social routines they had years ago. And when it doesn't fit like a glove, they just throw their hands up and conclude, well, I guess socializing just isn't for me anymore. But trying to squeeze back into an old life, that's totally doomed. You are not the same person you were back then. You have to create a completely new routine that fits the man you are today.
That perfectly sets up Section 3, the mindset shift. This is your internal pivot point. Before you even pick up your phone, before you force yourself out the door to an event, the absolute first step is internal. Decide who you want to be in this new stage, not who you used to be. I'm telling you, making this single decision fundamentally changes your entire aura. It changes how you enter a room, how you speak, how you carry yourself, and what kind of energy you transmit to the people around you. You're no longer the ghost of your past relationship, right? You are designing a brand new identity.
Let's get tactical with Section 4, 3 levels of action. This is your step-by-step prescription.
So here are the 3 steps you need to execute. Step 1. Recover genuine bonds. Please don't just mass text your entire contact list. Find the 2 or 3 real friends where the connection was completely genuine, but maybe it just cooled off during your relationship. Reach out for a real, honest conversation. Step 2. Expose yourself to new contexts. Join a new sport, hit up a networking event, take a class. But don't go desperately looking for friends, okay? Go engage in something out of genuine interest. Connections happen totally naturally when you're present in something you actually care about. And step 3. Learn to be comfortable alone in public. Go to a cafe, a restaurant, or an event entirely solo. When you can do this without squirming in discomfort, you project an incredibly attractive sense of security.
Which leads us to our final section, Section 5, the case of Mauricio. Think of this as your proof of concept.
Let's ground all this psychological theory with a real-world case study from the source material. So, 3 years ago, Mauricio went through a divorce after a 9-year marriage. He was 41, an engineer, super responsible guy, but totally and completely isolated. He literally felt like the weird divorced guy whose window for a social life had permanently closed. But then, he adopted the action plan. He put in the work on his identity and took weekly intentional steps. And today he's got new friends, he's back into sports, he's meeting quality people, and he has completely renewed his confidence.
Mauricio actually shared this incredibly powerful realization. He said, "For the first time in years, I went out on Saturday, and in no moment did I want to go home." I mean, wow. This right here proves that complete recovery and finding actual joy in your life again is entirely possible. It's not just a matter of luck, it is a matter of intentional action.
Listen closely to this. A man who is making himself smaller is disappearing. Isolation is a straight-up lie. It doesn't protect you at all. It just makes you shrink until you completely fade away. You have to stop telling yourself that staying home and avoiding the world is some kind of safe space. It's a trap, and it's literally costing you your life.
Which leaves us with this final, really provocative question straight from the source. The social world didn't close its doors. Were you the one who stopped knocking? Really think about that for a second. The world is out there, and it's waiting for the new rebuild version of you. It is time to stop hiding and start knocking again. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I really hope this gives you exactly what you need to take that first step.